All right, welcome to LWN Network. This is what do you call this, Tammy? Where last minute Larry decides, hey, let's do a show.
It's impromptu. It's impromptu.
We are impromptu this Saturday afternoon. I got a lot of stuff going on personally, but I wanted to carve some time out to discuss what's going on. We have invited Jeff B to join us. He's got the link, so he'll hop in here when he's got a moment. But yeah, just some very interesting changes of events over the weekend. And Tammy, you had said this to Jeff the other day. You said, what happened to the Fridays where everything cooled off, and then we got to have our weekend, and then we come back on Monday and shit would resume. And here we are. It's almost been 3 or 4 weekends in a row. We had Israel bombing Iran and the Iran war and issue, then Trump coming out like a week later bombing the shit out of them. We had last weekend's episode, and then here we are again with Pam Bondi in trouble. Some people also consider the Trump administration also in trouble right now, but with some of the breaking news that came out today and last night, is he really in trouble? That's the question. Is the Trump administration in trouble? Is this by design? Has this been part of the plan the whole time? Is he playing 5D chess? Because I know a lot of people talk about that as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to cover most of that this afternoon. I don't know how long I can be on here, but I'll stay on as long as I can. And if Jeff and Tammy still have more to cover and having a good time, I'll bounce and they can land the plane, so to speak. So I don't know, Tammy. I don't even know where to start. This shit is just crazy.
Well, let's start at what we can consider, I guess, sort of a beginning with Trump's statement at his cabinet meeting when he was asked by a reporter, how do you feel about the Epstein files? What's going on with the Epstein files? And then Trump lit off on the reporter about the Epstein files, saying, I can't believe we're talking about that. There's all these other things going on. That guy is a creep. We're still talking about this creep. I can't believe it, which is really offhanded for President Trump, because we all know that he ran on that. That was part of what he ran on. He was going to expose everything. Everybody knows what we've been going through with these Epstein files. They're on again. They're off again. Pam Bondi has them. No, that she doesn't have them. She thought she did on her desk. Then she sends them to Kash. Then we know, backstory, Dan Bongino has always said on his podcast that it is crucial that we get to the bottom of this in full exposure. Everybody needs to see the files. However, then Dan Bongino gets in the FBI as the assistant under Kash Patel, who heads it, right? And he says, I've looked at and there's nothing more to show. And the case, next thing we know, the case is closed. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, what is going on? And then Trump says what he had to say. So now all of a sudden, all hell is breaking loose, in my opinion, in the DOJ, because we've seen out there what is going on with Pam Bondi. Everybody's saying she needs to go. She needs to... she's a failure. She's not ready for this. What is she hiding? There was a rumor, and I did see a picture, but I never got to verify if the picture was her. It was actually her with Jeffrey Epstein when she was younger. They were alluding to her having connections to him as well. However, that's all allegations, and like I said, the picture came and went. I haven't seen any more on it. And then also, President Trump did come out and give a statement that I'll show in a little bit regarding all of this. Kash Patel has given a statement because all of a sudden, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were supposedly going to step aside and quit if Pam Bondi wasn't fired or let go. And then Kash has actually come out today and said, that's not true. I'm going to stay here. However, Dan Bongino didn't show up for work Friday. And now they're saying he probably won't show up Monday. And I've heard rumors that there's been meetings going on this afternoon. So that's about where we stand right now. What is actually going on? What the heck is going on?
Yeah, so I got some breaking news. Just started breaking right now while I was on my phone. After about 2.5 months of being hijacked and my identity being stolen, we are now live again on Facebook for the first time. So for those of you who enjoy Facebook, if you guys can hop over there and like our page if you haven't done that yet. We finally hit 100 subscribers, 100 people following us now when we had over 15,000. So anything you guys can do to help grow Facebook for us again, we would appreciate that. But we are finally live again on Facebook, Tammy, and I'm really excited for that because Facebook was a huge platform for us for many years.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. I want to see it now. You get to see it. I don't get to see it because if I mess with stuff, I'm going to shut us all down and nobody's going to be
That's why
happy
I
about
use my
that.
phone, Tammy.
I know, but I have stuff on my phone that I want to talk about and save.
No.
So,
Well,
anyways,
I see somebody backstage.
okay, I
I'm
think
gonna go ahead and bring Jeff B in here.
somebody's knocking. Let them on in.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff B.
Hey, how are you?
Fried.
Jeff, I got to ask you a question, Jeff. We were told scorching hot summer and nuclear winter.
Right?
What's your thoughts on that right this second with everything that's been going on in the last, say, 3-4 weekends?
Yeah, I think it's about ready to get a hell of a lot more dicey.
Well, Trump does say we're hot, we were cold and now we're hot, and I forgot about that little aspect there. That we heard rumors about that, and it does say we were very hot. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, so I was telling you too earlier that certain individuals were being called to the White House, and one of them being the big chair, and the comment that he texted me that he had made in this meeting was, I don't know what this is all about, but if there is a cover up or if something egregious is going on, I'm walking my white ass out of here and I'm going to Congress.
Yes, yes. I think that the person that did that took a lot of guts, and I think it's wonderful because everybody is so sick and tired of this already. And I think it hit people by surprise because Trump has been so open with everything, and he's always followed through with what he said. And
Right.
it's not that he can control the DOJ and what's going on with those guys, But the thing is, his statement at that cabinet meeting is what sunk him responding that way to that reporter. So I'm happy to see that there's somebody that's saying, hey, Mr. President, you need to really pay attention to what's going on because your base is fractionated like it's never been fractionated since they started following you years ago.
Well, and I don't think it is so much of the list itself. People say, I want to know who's on it, yada, yada. I think people want to see results because we know it's there
Yeah.
and you can't deny it. Or, Alan Dershowitz just come out and said it's there. So here's what I think the implication is I think there are some high-level attorneys at DOJ that know if and when this truly comes out, once they open up the genie, you can't put it back in. And I think it's going to topple a lot of businesses, Congress, even, world leaders, because they're, some people know that they're on it and they've been quiet. But I know the person that was in this meeting, they weren't read on to anything. They were just asked to be there, and it got pretty intense. And Kash has put out the statement now that this is all rumor about him resigning if Bongino goes. And I had asked the big chair, I said, what are you going to do? And he goes, if there's even a hint of a cover up or a hint of something unlawful, he goes, I'll go to Congress. I don't care. What are they going to do? Throw me in a prison? I said alligator. I told him, I said alligator Alcatraz. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, for those people who are just finding us again or catching us, I know we kind of jumped right in the middle of the conversation, but let's back up 1 week and let's start the very beginning. and then maybe Jeff can help connect some dots here. So what happened, like Tammy started the show off, was there was a press conference, and Donald Trump was asked about the Epstein file and the case, and he said, hey, why are we even still talking about this anymore? We got more important things to worry about, like Texas. And I do agree. There are a lot of people suffering in Texas right now, and they do need Trump's immediate attention, and they need help and finances and all the stuff. But what we're frustrated about was Pam Bondi came out and said that there was a list and there was videos and hundreds of victims, and that they were going to be prosecuted. We had Kash Patel, Dan Bongino brought into the situation, and it just got worse from there after the statement last week by Trump. There's been a huge fallout. So, of course, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino not happy. Dan Bongino made a statement yesterday to people in his close circle. It said he is considering, walking away. And that went viral. And then Kash Patel made a similar comment that maybe I need to leave too. But then that was kind of debunked, and Kash said, no, I don't mean that. I'm staying. So they're putting pressure on Trump. We heard that there was a meeting in the Oval Office that basically Dan Bongino told Kash Patel and J.D. Vance that it's either me or Pam Bondi, and they've just been putting a lot of pressure on the administration to, I guess, let her go, move on, and then I want to catch up here with Jeff, and then all of a sudden today it was breaking that Matt Gaetz' plane took a U-turn and went to the White House, and there's talk about him becoming a special prosecutor, and that's kind of where we've led up to this whole discussion. We're talking about some of the things that have been going on the side. So, Jeff, you want to talk about the possibility of Matt Gaetz becoming a special prosecutor? And you had told us last night or night before that Trump can use a special action. I don't know if it's emergency action. You can explain it to the audience. But he can actually call Matt Gaetz in to be a special prosecutor. And Tammy had sent me some videos where they're explaining that he becomes a special prosecutor from now until like almost the end of August. And then at the end of August, they can re-vote him in as AG. And I don't know if I'm correct or mistaken on some of that, but I'll let you go ahead and pick up there, Jeff.
Well, I mean, the president can assign a special prosecutor. DOJ can assign a special prosecutor. Now, as for the AG, they would have to go in front of Senate confirmation or Congress for confirmation. And I even heard rumblings of Sessions coming back. Mm-hmm. Now, Trump put out a statement about he has full confidence in Bondi. I think there was probably a meeting with Trump and Bondi where Bondi said, hey, here's some complications if we do this. And it didn't get trickled down to the DOJ, the FBI portion of it. But I'm sure Bongino knows a lot more than, he's letting on. But like with my buddy, he's not read on to this. Even though he's cleared for it, he's not read on to it. So that's why he made this statement. Look, if there is something nefarious going on, I'll leave. Mm-hmm. And I'll walk to either Grassley or whoever, the IG, and blow the whole cards down. Mm-hmm. Now, here's where because I had talked to Monkey, and a couple people had mentioned to me that there were some DOJ planes that one left Florida at Opelika, and then two left out of Andrews. And so I asked Monkey if he could run some of the hex codes that I knew of, and some way, somehow, I think some of this is going to come back to Assange. Not that Assange is on it, but Assange has some of this. along with McAfee. Because
McAfee is the dead man switch individual a couple of years ago. I have to say real quick, because my best friend Skip is listening.
Skip. Hey, Skip.
Yeah, he's listening to us live at the Weezer Rodeo in Weezer, Idaho. And there are other people around him listening to us right now.
That's awesome.
So I just want to say hi to my buddy Skip and to Tony. I don't know if Tony's riding in the rodeo tonight with the Angel Wings, but hello to Skip and Tony and everyone else there in Weezer, Idaho that's listening to us. And we actually had a huge following there in Weezer for quite a while before we got taken down. So hopefully you guys find us again. We'd love to have you part of the audience. So these planes, Jeff, there's just so much going on. And,
right.
I've been upset. I've had mixed emotions. And then I start thinking about this stuff. And, I mean, could this have been part of the whole plan from the very get-go? Because I heard one guy say, okay, well, Matt Gaetz couldn't get in there because everybody hated him, and then so they got Pam in, and even Tammy has talked about this. So they got Pam in, and is this a way for them to use her to be able to get him in permanently? Is that even a possibility?
Yeah, he would still have to go up for confirmation. I mean, I think it would probably be a best bet for him just to be a special prosecutor. Mm-hmm. And look, I know I've been saying for years when this hits, it's, you go back to the phrase, people won't be able to walk down the street. No matter where your politics lie, this right here will transcend through America, because they don't want people messing with kids, and especially if they've been on the government payroll. And a lot of them, it's just disgusting.
Well, Tucker, people were going against Tucker for a little bit, and now he's at the Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's deal. I think they're in Florida. But he said publicly, he was giving a speech there, and he said the real answer is about Jeffrey Epstein's information. He said he was working on behalf of Intel Services, and he said probably not American. He said this guy had direct connections to a foreign government, and nobody's allowed to say that foreign government is Israel. So Tucker's been on this bandwagon, and with interviews and stuff that I've seen, that this is so big, and it includes Israel, allegedly, in his opinion, and nobody's allowed to say anything bad against them, because everybody then says, all these bad things about you. But the reality is, this goes further than the United States of America. This obviously is international and all across the world. So no kid, no underage person should ever experience what some of these people have. So I think that's why people went for Trump's throat and said, we're not voting for him again. We've had it. We want transparency, because there's been at least 1,000 of these people that have been accused, or they've accused of, sexually harassing and everything else. There's a lot of them out there. There's still like 300,000 children that are missing, that they're trying to find from the Biden administration, that are just up and gone. Like, what does that tell you? It's not just like they're lost roaming on their own. They are placed somewhere that isn't safe, because if they were safe, we'd know where they're at. So this is, like you said, a very, very big, massive undertaking, and there's a lot of people that are obviously not innocent, and it will cause a lot of chaos, I think, across the country. But I say, it's time for all those blocks to fall down. We can't have this country or this world continue abusing underage people at all. It's ridiculous.
Well, here's the number if anybody wants to call in, ask a question, make comment. 620-317-1776. We said that we were going to take live calls today, so if you guys want to call in, there's the number. You can just call in, regular phone call. Nothing special needed to join us. So I don't know. It's definitely been very, very interesting. I think, Tammy, you and I were talking about yesterday on my way home from work that either somebody had said or you had felt that Trump was hoping that things would kind of cool off a little bit with the MAGA movement, but it seems like there's no slowing down. If nothing else, they've turned the heat up.
Yeah. I think that's why if there are meetings, because Jeff B has said there are some meetings with certain people this afternoon, that he realized that MAGA, maybe it was all along. Maybe there is a plan we don't know about or whatever. But the optics of this are very ugly, and it went really hard against Trump. And for Trump to be upset about bringing it up again in lieu of Texas. Now everybody is mourning for Texas, prayers up for Texas, and all these other cities or states that have had flooding recently as well. It's just nonstop. We have a lot of problems in the country and in the world. But when it comes to the kids, we're not going to let that go away. And it really made me angry that Pam Bondi in the cabinet meeting was saying these videos are never going to come to light. It was just the P word. And nobody wants to see those videos. We want accountability. We want this to stop. We want the children to be found. We want children to be safe. We want the sexual predators put away. We want all this transgender and all this stuff put away from the children. We want our children to grow up innocent, to grow up normal, and to have good lives. And then they can make their decisions that they want to make as adults. Adults can adult. But when you bring the kids in, that's never going to rub America and mothers and fathers the right way at all.
Well, here's a question for the two of you. I work with guys, construction, mostly all union construction workers, and I mean the majority of them. I don't know any of them that are not Trump supporters. But do you feel what's happened in the last 5 days? Either one of you feel like this has hurt Trump, the administration, the MAGA movement, conservatism, or anything at all? Because me personally, I believe, and I told Tammy this the other day, that if they don't somehow course correct this action, take action, and I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying if there isn't a course correction with everything that's been going on in the last 3 or 4 days, I believe it could really hurt us, not just in the midterms. I believe we could lose in the midterms, but I also think it could cost us, a J.D. Vance run for president in 2028, and it could hurt us, which puts us right back in the same boat as we had 4 years of Trump, and here comes Joe Biden. He come in and wiped the slate clean, wiped out a lot of what Trump had put in place his first 4 years, and then we're right back to square one again, where we're all struggling and just fighting for our lives. So thoughts and comments on that, Jeff and Tammy?
Go ahead, Tammy.
I'm going to say that yes. Initially, even for me, I have been behind Trump. I support Trump. I voted for Trump over and over again. But when he behaved that way and acted that way, optics or not, I don't care if when people say, "Oh, well, that's because it's an optic and this and that." I'm kind of over that term, just like some other terms that I think that we need transparency, and it needs to continue. The trust in the government is at zero. I don't Trump just started getting momentum and people trusting him and the government again, and this comes out. And so for him to double down and say the case is closed, and actually I have up here the statement that Trump did weigh in on Bondi and Kash and Bongino and the Epstein documents, and after Jeff's comments or whatever, we can pull that up, and it's kind of bums me out as well. But I think there is damage that needs to be rectified, and I agree with you, LW, that he needs to straighten this out, and we need to find out what is really going on. All these DOJ people and Trump are not on the same page with the Epstein stuff. And it's like everything was out there for years. He knew what Dan Bongino said about Epstein for years, yet he brings them into the FBI. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, nope, we're shutting it down. There's nothing to see here. It's ridiculous.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, doing Monday morning quarterbacking, I mean, it probably would have been advantageous for, Trump to say, hey, look, I know this is important. This is important to the American people, to both sides of the aisle. But give us time. And, because they're only going to get one bite at this apple. And they can only do this one time. Trump's a little bit of a hothead. Everybody knows it. He says some stuff that's that's, somewhat outlandish. But I think a lot of this is, uh, I'm sure there was a lot of stuff said in that meeting between BB and Trump. Because I think a lot of this, I had said on the last show, I think a lot of this Epstein stuff was either Mossad or some other intelligence group trying to fracture, our government from years ago, so they could exploit politicians, both left and right sides of the aisle. Uh, but and I said too that Trump's only got 6 months. If Trump don't perform in 6 months, it's going to get ugly for him, because there's going to be a lot of mid-row voters that really didn't want him in because of his actions and how he speaks and whatnot, that voted for him. And then you're going to have your ultra, Trump can't do anything wrong, that if he doesn't produce, are going to abandon him. But I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of damage control coming out, but I think a lot of this is predicate on this. This could possibly, collapse the U.S. government court systems. Because how can you have, let's say, if you went in front of a judge and you were charged with certain things, and then, oh wait, come to find out this judge did the same thing. There's a lot of legal issues.
Yeah.
And so this is, like I said, they're only going to get one bite at it. I just wish they'd have handled it a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's human, and I told Tammy Trump looked frustrated and exhausted during that press conference, and so I'll extend some grace. He very well could have been just really tired, and that just kind of ticked him off a little bit, right? Because if I had to put myself in Trump's shoes, he's sitting there talking about Texas. He's wanting to help the American people in Texas who've lost everything, lost their kids. Like I'm sure being president of the United States, that's super stressful. And then you have somebody hit you with a question like that, and he probably just was like, yeah, this is fucking stupid, right? So, right. Tammy, I'd like for you to talk about the videos. I had conversation with my tool partner, I think it was yesterday or Thursday, about the whole Epstein issue, and the fact that I don't feel like he killed himself by any stretch of the means. It was either somebody came in and did it, or he's still alive. That's the two possibilities for me. But I was talking to him about, people that are experts that watched Dan Bongino and Kash Patel when they did the very first press release, when they were on the show, and they both said, oh, it looked like a suicide, la la la, pissed everybody off. And of course, he's an intelligent guy, but he's hard to convince on things, and he's like, well, that doesn't hold up in court, and he tends to believe a lot of the stuff that's out there. That, I mean, it's logical thinking, but there's always a sense of corruption that, and in my opinion, he doesn't look at the corruption, and I do. So we know that this whole system's corrupt. And you were talking about the video of the Epstein jail cell and how that's been debunked, not debunked. Can you talk about that a little bit? And then yes. I want Jeff to comment when you're done.
So yeah, okay, so I'm going to share this right now because this is the article I was talking about. Then don't let me forget, we're going to go back to Trump's comment about Bondi and all that too, because I have an article on that, his statement that he just came out with. So right here it says that experts complain DOJ's alleged full raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was modified. So they're saying metadata from surveillance video recorded outside his jail cell prior to his death was reportedly modified according to Wired.
Hey, Tammy, can I pause you for just a minute? I just noticed that we got a caller, and I don't know. It looks like they just called in. So can we just pause that for just a minute, bring the caller in? Okay. Hello, caller. Welcome to LWN. What's your name? Where are you from? How you doing this afternoon? It's pretty hot Saturday here in Idaho. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He and his babysitter wife need to be investigated.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and I think it goes even further back than that. I also think that the other half of him, which is Obama, should also be investigated. I think I forgot to hit the unmute button when she started, but so basically, she's saying that she feels like Joe Biden, that administration, should be investigated, and I don't disagree.
Right. Well, no, they all do. I mean, and I'm going to give this second administration a B plus. There's a lot of things that he really seriously could do. It's just one of those things should not have been on the agenda. Gulf of America. Seriously, who is that really offending? I mean, no offense to anybody who likes it, but I didn't really see a problem with it. But I mean, I like that he's finding the missing kids. But here's another thing too: our animals are being tested. They're currently being tested, and I like that the NIH has been shut down. But I've written to him about. I mean, I get I'm going off topic here, but I wrote to him a couple times about passing Violet's law about people being able to adopt lab animals.
Okay.
But he, I mean, I know he's got a lot on his plate. He's only been in office like 6 months, and already, I mean, let's look at it like this: the shit. Sorry about that.
You're all right. It's just live radio. It's all good.
Oh, just live radio. No, that was my PC. I swear.
Well,
I did not have Taco Bell.
I want to ask you a question though, Nutmeg, before you jump off of here. And I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for calling in. Would love to hear other people call in as well.
Sorry,
but you were talking about how Joe Biden had made the comment that we should put Trump in the crosshairs during his administration. Is that correct? You made that comment?
Yes, he said it on live TV.
Yes. Okay, so here's
and I also posted it on my Substack.
Here is my question. Just this week, I was seeing videos where they were doing a protest somewhere, and they actually had wanted signs posted up on trees and telephone poles, and it was a photo of J.D. Vance, the vice president of this United States, and it had a bullseye pointed right on his forehead, and it said something to the effect of, "We need to take him out." What are your thoughts on that?
I think whoever put that up really seriously needs to be investigated. And I think it's a lot of these street urchins that are running around here. I actually have not seen that. Thank you for raising that to my attention. But yeah, like this was like shortly after the debate, Joe Biden said this at a rally. He says, we need to stop talking about the debates and put Trump in a bullseye. It's like, oh yeah. And Trump, and Trump, the MAGA people are the one that's weird. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I appreciate the phone call. Meg, please don't be a stranger and call back again, please.
Anytime.
All right, thank you. All right. Sorry, Tammy,
That's okay.
for doing that. I wanted to make sure we gave our caller an opportunity to speak. So I'll turn it back over to you, Tammy.
Well, I gotta echo here.
Oh, I gotta mute this. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right, now you should be good.
Okay, so let's go back to this, and yeah, interrupting for callers is absolutely fine. So this is the little clip. So we're going back to metadata. So some experts are saying that the clip that was put out to us regarding Jeffrey Epstein's sales cell that verifies what Dan Bongino, Kash Patel said that he did off himself, that it was messed with, is what they're saying. So these are big accusations. These are not just conspiracy theories. This is what's different now than a few years ago. You've got the people that are actually involved saying things. It's not just hearsay from this truther over here or this person over here. It is the people that are actually involved. And that's what's concerning, and that's what's confusing to me, because this whole thing, to come out with an article saying that it was messed with, that's a big accusation against our government, and a government that we were beginning to trust. So that's why I thought it was important to share and see. And then that's the little clip at the cabinet meeting in Bondi. I don't think we need to play that again, but that's where he said, "I can't believe you're still talking about this." So that's all. I'm just frustrated because there's a lot of big stuff going on from the actual people that we tried trusting, and it seems like they're just all infighting, and I can't figure out why. Why can't people just be truthful and honest? I know that it's a big deal, and I know there's a lot of corruption. We've heard that nonstop, but why can't we just clean it the heck out and just be truthful? Because once it's truthful, then the bad guys that are named know everybody knows. So if they unalive somebody, we're going to know it's them. Keeping it secret for this long, to me, does more damage than it does help. And that's just my opinion.
Well, I've told you why it's too hard to just clean a lot of it up. There's too much of it. I think Jeff had alluded to it the other day when we were talking as well. Is like you and I had the conversation. There's so much corruption, and you can't leave any of the old guard in because they just corrupt the new people that come in. So, I mean, to me, I'd said it needs to be, plan B, revolutionary thing and military operation. I'll leave that to Jeff to talk maybe more about that. But Jeff, what are your thoughts on what I had told Nutmeg there, where they have posters up, and I can't remember what city it was, about taking J.D. Vance out? I mean, here we are years later with the whole J6er thing, and I never heard the current president make any kind of comment of, hey, let's go storm the Capitol and do anything destructive. He just said, let's go down there peacefully and have our voices heard, and he gets rounded up for an insurrection, but yet people that post stuff like that, it seems like there's no justice. What's your thought?
Well, you look at it, I didn't care for Joe Biden, didn't care for Barack Obama. But if they would have done, anybody, whether Republican or Democrat, would have done that, they should 100% absolutely be picked up by the Secret Service. I don't know if we blame the school systems, the parents. There is zero respect for the office of the presidency, the vice presidency. There's none. It's only based on political lines. Even with Trump, if Trump would do something extremely stupid, yeah, you got to go. I don't know. I think there are so many moving parts, and no matter what Trump does, let's say hypothetically, let's say tonight they roll out this list and they order DOJ to go round all these people up, military in the streets, National Guard, start picking up all these people. I would say 60% of the American people would call Trump a dictator and everything else. If he doesn't, or if he just lets this slide, he's gonna he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Now, is that because he's his own worst enemy? Yeah, that could be, and that's why years ago when you first started this, if what I believed was going on had to happen, it was going to have to, all of this was going to have to be probably broke by the military, because only a certain fringe group of people would, say that, Trump's a or the military it's a coup. I don't know. I just, there's something, there's definitely something missing in all of this. And I think a lot of it points back to what happens on a world stage, that let's say out of all of the Senate, say 100 senators, 75 of them are on the list, right? They have to go in and pick up 75 senators. What happens on the world stage? Because now you have countries that aren't very receptive to us that are going to try to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
Well-
I want to respond real quick to a comment there in chat. What the hell? That was loud. I just want to respond to Sage real quick, because he says that Trump's on the list, and I have to 100% disagree with that comment. If Trump was on that list, Trump wouldn't be president right now, because the Democrats would have used that against him not only in 2020 but 2024. There's no way that he's on that list. I don't believe that for 1 second. There's zero proof of that. And for people who want receipts all the time, I'd like to see the receipts on that, because it's not there. There's no receipt on that. And the Democrats, not for 1 second would that have been held a secret, and they would have
they'd have been
crucified. They'd have crucified him for that. Hell, they took him wrong. No, I'm not wrong, but they took him to court and prosecuted him for tax evasion and real estate dealings in New York. They tried to crucify him for J6. That would have been the biggest thing out there, and they would have been relentless about it for sure.
Right. Well, Mike, let's say hypothetically he is on the list. U.S. Secret Service, march your happy ass into the Oval Office and take him into custody.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that.
It's not about Donald
if he's
Trump,
on the
it's about
list.
the country.
If he's on the list and he did any of that stuff, haul him off. He deserves
absolutely.
that.
Everybody does.
But that's the difference between our way of thinking and other people's way of thinking, because they can't compute or even say things like Joe Biden was a horrible president and his policies were horrible and hurt the economy and the American people. All it is an absolute witch hunt for Donald Trump. It's a hater of Donald Trump, and they will continue to be haters of Donald Trump. But at least I got the fucking balls to say that if he fucked up, he needs to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
But I don't see anyone else having the balls like that to call out Joe Biden or anyone else on the left. I just don't have respect for that shit.
And the whole thing is, don't forget, a lot of people are on the list that they say they don't have, but we've seen a list. But that doesn't mean they did anything wrong. When you've got a president like Trump, who does everything good for the children, and his wife goes around doing good, but you've got Joe Biden, who is president, sniffing children, having accusations and diaries show up of taking showers with his relatives, but that's okay. Trump's the bad guy. I'm over that. Anybody who hurts a kid needs to be taken out. Plain and simple. It's not about standing up for one side or the other. It's standing up for what is right and what is wrong. You take away innocences from children, you deserve to not breathe anymore. So, whatever. Just like the tariffs were bad and it's bringing all this money in. Just like the big, beautiful bill's bad, but then it's not. There's extremes on both sides. If we can't find a way to meet in the middle and stop hating on Trump, we're never going to get anywhere. And it gets old because there's accusations without proof. The way that the Democrats ripped through President Trump and tried to impeach him, and they went through everything at him they could and never found guilty much of anything. So you tell me, Joe Biden didn't get brought up. What about the laptop? What about all this stuff? Joe Biden has yet to pay a price for anything. But, all these pardons that he did, now this auto pen. Where's everybody that was pro-Biden talking about the auto pen? Don't you have a problem with your president not using the auto pen? You all knew he wasn't functional. It's just maddening.
And nobody said a damn thing about it. That's all right. We're going to move on. I gave them their 30 seconds of fame there, and I just totally disagree. And that's okay. We can all have different opinions.
Yes.
And we can disagree. I'm not going to get in a heated argument over it. So, Tammy, I'm going to have to jet here real quick and go take care of Noah. So, is there anything else that was on the agenda for this afternoon that you or Jeff wanted to cover? And, hey, I can leave and you guys can keep rolling too. That's not a big deal.
Well, I just wanted to show Trump's response and have a quick little conversation and opinions about his response to this clash going on.
Let's hear it.
Let me share the screen and show it, and then we can cover that, and then we can get out of here. So there it is. So it says that President Trump basically said, what is going on with my boys and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, I lost my place. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving public publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the loser criminals of the Biden administration who con the world with Russia, and 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. So I thought that's a lot for him to say. He's saying they made it all up.
Well, a lot of that stuff has been proven to be false. Matter of fact, all of it's been false, and a lot of the stuff that we were called conspiracy theorists about has been proven to be the truth. So, Jeff, your thoughts on that before I roll out of here?
Yeah, I mean, there's... I do know one thing, though, and I think I shared it with you and Tammy. I do know what happened to the, minute and 10 seconds of the prison video.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Did you see the picture I sent you where Hillary showed up and opened the door?
There's been some pretty... With AI now, they can create all kinds of pretty hilarious stuff.
Yeah. Now, well, I'm going to be really interested to see what the results of the search warrant that was filed to the New York District Court for whatever was stashed by Comey in the basement. That's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of that.
Absolutely. I think there's a shit ton of people on that list, and
I think so too.
I think it would cripple America.
Yep.
When it comes out, or if it ever comes out, I don't think it ever will come out. But I think it'll cripple America. Is Trump on that list? He absolutely is on that list. He definitely had been around Epstein. That's proven. That's fact. I don't dispute that at all. But was he going to the island and partaking in certain things? I have seen no proof of that yet. And if I did, then my mind would be changed abruptly about him and about the whole administration. So until I actually see that, I'm not going to make any accusations toward him. So there's lots of business people that are connected to Epstein who went to lunch with him, who went to dinner with him, made all kinds of business transactions with him. Are they dirty? I have no idea. I don't think they're all dirty, but I know that there are some dirty motherfuckers out there who did partake in Epstein and Epstein's Isle. I don't, when they said, when I was talking to my buddy, he's like, well, all that's been proven is that Epstein and Maxwell were the only two that were guilty, that were convicted, and went to prison. And he had felt from what he had learned is that Epstein and Maxwell were the only two that did anything. You got a bigger channel. Congratulations. The only thing that that was about the dumbest statement I've ever seen, but okay. My thought was, so he had talked about how they were the only two that had been convicted and they were the only two that did any wrong on that island. I have a hard time believing that anybody that traveled to that island with Epstein just went there and drank margaritas on the beach and then left. But I think it was Kathy had mentioned the other day that you can't even get there by plane. You have to fly to an island close to it and then take a boat. So it's just, I don't know. There's just so much to kind of process there, and I have no desire to watch videos. The only thing I want to see is the names on the list. And then from that, I don't even know where to take it, because just because their name's on the list does not mean that they had done anything on the island or anywhere else.
And why is Ghislaine in jail, the only one? It's like she's the one. Oh, so she trafficked people to nobody but Epstein. So, and I said this on our last show. I don't believe Epstein is the top dog. I believe Epstein was the facilitator with Ghislaine. I believe that there's top dogs that dictated and directed him on what to do and were the controllers. Way at the top, way bigger than Epstein. I don't think he's the big guy. I don't.
I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? Before I leave.
I don't. Well, if this list doesn't exist, then Maxwell
we've been duped. We've been duped for years.
Well, no, Maxwell should be filing appeals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no list. What are you talking about? I just think when wheels of justice are extremely slow. Government is extremely slow. And I think there's going to be some people, both sides of the aisle, that are going to have a real damn hard time dealing with this when it happens. Because, just like one of the shows I was watching last night, that there's no arrest. Nothing's ever happened. Well, I can go through about 13, 14 federal judges that have been removed from the bench and arrested. So there is stuff happening. This is going to be very dicey, and I think we're going to have come mid this month. Especially with the Federal Reserve, a lot of people aren't even talking about that. With Trump basically saying that we're going to boot you next, so and move it all over to Treasury.
Well, there's no shortage of any topic to cover in the news nowadays. And as far as Trump saying it was fake, I haven't heard that yet. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I don't care. It's a
lot of YouTube experts.
Of course. Well, when you study certain things for 6 months, it makes you an expert. That's right here. So
I just think we have to.
I'm no expert, and I don't claim to be an expert.
Nope.
Never would claim to be an expert. But there are lots of them out there that claim that the body language says a lot of stuff with Bongino and Kash Patel. I don't know. It's, to me, this is a total mess. And
It is. It totally is.
It's going to be relentless, I think, from here till the finish line, with information coming out, whether it's true, not true. I don't know. It's just more of the same. Every day we wake up and it's something new.
Well, then who's protecting Trump? Like, if Trump is guilty, who's protecting him? Because the Dems had total control and tried to take him down, and they couldn't do crap. And now that he's in control, they're still saying that he's corrupt and all this stuff. So it makes no sense. Nothing makes sense. And what you say is true. It is a mental mind F word. It's horrible. And we just want to get to the other side of it. And hopefully we will with our sanity, but I doubt mine every now and again anymore.
I have no sanity. It's been gone for a long time. Well, it was fun just to come on for this afternoon. I know it was last minute, Larry, and this is kind of a sporadic thing on Saturday, but with all the stuff with Matt Gaetz and just everything kind of breaking and Jeff sending stuff to us, I was like, well, hell, let's just come on and talk about it for a quick minute. And I got plans for this afternoon, this evening, and I'm going to roll out. But
Okay.
I appreciate the fact that you joined me, Tammy, and of course, Jeff. Thanks for checking in with us here and helping us out. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good time for a short time.
For a short time. Well, we're rolling up here on an hour, so we did a shorter one than we have for the last few times, but at least we got on here and.
No, I mean a short time. It was fun because now we got to go back to reality.
Yeah,
I think
well,
we
I
did.
have fun planned, Tammy. So doesn't break my heart to get off of here. Jeff, what's your final thought before you get out of here?
Yeah, the world's a stage, and we're all definitely in a hot mess. And and I just hope at the end of the day, the country survives. That's all this he said, she said. It's a mess, and it's going to be a mess for a while. We've been at this for what 200 going on 250 years. Mm-hmm. So it took us this long to break it. So, but everybody, we're a now society. Everybody needs everything done right now. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I don't know. All I want to know is what was the look on everybody's face inside that meeting when the big chair says, "You guys can kiss my white."
White lily behind.
Right, yeah. And hopefully he calls me this evening so I can just bust his chops and ask him how his daddy's doing.
Right.
All right, guys. Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you later, Jeff.
And I'm just going to go by going, that's my thought to head into the weekend. That's my final thought.
That's your final thought?
That's it.
That's
all,
it.
Tammy? I ain't got no more.
Well, there'll be more. You'll text me here in a little while and say, "Did you hear this? Did you see this?"
Right, I know.
For me, a lot of this is just entertainment. I'm not out there trying to make a buck off any of this stuff. So it's entertainment. It's fun to talk about. There's crazy shit on both sides going on. This is the craziest shit that we've ever seen in the last 5 or 6 years by far.
Yeah.
Everything else was boring, and we've said this before. Once he's gone, what's there going to be to talk about? Honestly, like, it's just going to get boring as hell and more corrupt and just, I don't know, my little piece of property on the mountain in the hills disappear with my ammo and my wonderful little toys that I play with. I could care less, right?
But we still are here. We fight the fight. Even though we dream about that, it's down the road. We still have a task.
We can.
Yes, we do. We do. All right.
Well, let's bail out of here.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, please, if you can, like, share, and subscribe our YouTube or Facebook channel, because we're up and running on Facebook now. Today was the first time, so
Pretty
if they could do that, that's awesome.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Talk
Tammy,
to you
take
later.
care. Later.
Bye.
Bye.